It's Facebook. I'm telling you. What's up, everybody? It is Facebook. I said it from my show this morning.
Always.
But, oh, Joe, this is actually fun. We could even start this. But before we do it, what's up? I hope everybody's having an incredible week. That's right. Joe Wilson and myself every single week, every Tuesday. You can expect us here most Tuesdays. Every once in a while we miss one.
Very rare exception.
Very rare exception that we miss one. But there's some big changes that happened to Facebook. If you saw my post, yes, they're like Reels got announced on Facebook, which of course everybody's like, they already own Instagram. Why didn't they do this earlier? Well, they did it. And this just shows that Facebook is not dead. They're still out there competing with the TikToks, with the Instagrams of the world. So you should absolutely be paying attention to that. But Joe, what's up, man? Excited to have you on another episode of Shredding Social. You and I have so much fun with this, and we do this for all of you. Like, we do this because literally we want to help you. That's it. All of you watching, all of you listening, we're doing this for you. How has your week been, my friend?
It's been great. Lots of fun, lots of great things. And like you said, Facebook is an ever-changing beast. And being in a technology company that integrates Facebook makes that really interesting to do. And there are a lot of bigger changes. In fact, maybe next week, Josh, we should talk about some of the changes that are happening with Facebook, with Instagram. There's a lot to unpack there, and we're like constantly evolving these things. So dude, we should do that next week.
100% going to do that. As a matter of fact, everybody knows Dal here on our team. She's like one of the most up-to-date people when it comes to all that. And we'll actually share some of the accounts that we follow for these big announcements. You should be following them as well. Joe and I try to update you as much as possible. And maybe that's what we'll start doing as part of this show. It's like, hey, these are some of the things that are hitting, because so many changes are happening right now. To stay on top of them is absolutely key. But that next week, that's happening. So stay tuned next week. That's happening. But Joe, we have something probably just as important to talk about, because our industry already is under fire. Like, there's so much doom and gloom and fear and scarceness mentality. Everybody's like just panicking. Interest rates are going on the rise. The feds are going to make a big announcement on the 26th of this month. Our interest rate's going to go up even more. So, and plus the housing market is like everything. Oh, it's coming down. Housing market is crashing. It's like, whoa. Everybody take a step back. But then on top of that, Joe, we have our own industry professionals attacking one another. Like, just going back to the high school drama type crap that it's just like, this is just
look. This is a larger symptom in America that we have, that there's just so much going on. I mean, you look at the past couple of years, we've been under a lot of stress, and the mortgage industry in particular has been under a lot of stress. 2+ years of just insane workloads, the refi boom, everything like that. Now, coming straight out of that into like a whole new high rate environment, the housing inventory is super low, and a lot of changing guidelines, a lot of shakeups in the industry. I mean, there are big companies going out of business, merging, et cetera. We're seeing that all the time right now. And on top of that, now we've got some extra layer of just, nonsensical discussions that are happening online. And so people are under a lot of stress. And I think, just like take a second to breathe, right?
100,
be really good.
You literally, everybody needs to take a deep breath, and before they start going out and saying things that they might regret, because we've all been there. We've all been the keyboard warrior at one time or another and said something or commented something that we probably didn't need to comment. Although, hey, I'm all about it, and freedom of speech. That's why I love social media. It gives us that platform. We can do that. But before you go out and just start ranting and raving, you should maybe think about things. You should maybe take a second. Like you said, Joe, practice your breathing exercises, take a deep breath, maybe go do some yoga, stretch it out. Heck, maybe go hit the gym for a second and get some of that aggression out. But Joe, like, it is just so like, I don't understand the mentality, because you and I have both, like, we've seen posts. I've had posts that I've wanted to comment on and that have got me riled up and frustrated, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and just be like, oh my gosh, this Joe Wilson guy, he's an absolute tyrant. Can you believe who this guy thinks he is? Like, it just doesn't help anybody.
No, it doesn't help anything, and it only hurts. It only hurts the discussion, but it also ends up hurting yourself, right? And that's kind of what the key to this discussion is, guys. Is like a lot of people get emotional about things, and their first response is to tack on. They might feel really well-meaning or justified in their heat of the moment thoughts and discussions online, right? But everything that you do creates a digital footprint for yourself, and everything you do and you put out there is then being viewed by potential future employers, potential customers, potential referral partners that you have. And so before you click send on that little post or that comment, just think through, what would my clients say? What would my warehouse lender say about this? Or what would my realtor referral partner say if they knew what I said here? Would they be okay with it? Would they not be okay with it? And even if you think that some of them would be okay with it, the general consensus is probably not as much. If it's something that's going to be negative, or you're gossiping or saying something negative about somebody. Josh, I heard the best advice in a security training years and years ago at a company that I was with before. And this has always stuck with me. The guy was talking about just making sure that it's more about responding to phishing and things like that. But
Yeah.
I think it applies to this conversation today. He said, never say anything you can't wink. Never write something that you can't say. And there you go. So
I like that.
Wait, I got it right?
I say
never wink something you can't say, never write something you can't say. Wait. No, I have this totally wrong.
I was like, I see where you're going with it.
Just wink it. And if you don't want to, don't write it, just say it.
There you go. That
guy.
The
opposite.
I think it's backwards.
All the way wrong. Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, this just shows.
This is my problem. I basically butchered everything, but you get the point. Don't say something stupid. Don't write anything stupid. Just wink it to your friends.
If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. There we go.
That was horrible.
In a long roundabout way, ladies and gentlemen. See, you don't have to be perfect to get on here and just say what we want to say. We just get out there and we're actually making it happen. But to your point, that's just it. We have to practice more like kind candor. I know Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this a lot, but this has been really hitting for me in particular, especially with the environment that we're in right now. Like you said, from like just politics to our world in general, like we just need to practice kind candor, and like killing them with love is more important than anything. And literally commenting or getting yourself all riled up and fired up, especially if you make a post. I love that you talked about future opportunities, because I know companies specifically, like they will look at stuff like that. They'll go back and actually dig, especially if you're looking like, if you want to work your way up in the world, get into an executive role or some type of executive leadership position, like that will hold you back. Like you need to be, and again, it's not that you can't say something that you want to say, but there's a time, there's a place, and there's a platform to do that. And that is what is truly important. Again, maybe Joe and I have said plenty of things off camera that we probably would not say on camera.
We did before we started recording.
Yeah, we did before we started recording. But that does, and again, you can have those opinions. You can have those beliefs. We all have different beliefs and opinions, which is totally awesome. That's the amazing thing that the country that we live in, we have these freedoms. Like, but just think about it before you go out there, even if you're riled up and if you're frustrated. Take a second, take a step back and say, what good is this going to do? And if it's ultimately not going to have some type of value or benefit, like there's just no reason to it. Like,
yeah, and I think even beyond that too, it's like being constructive with your words, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing when you say or write something? Is it just to complain? Is it to jump on a gossip train? Or are you really trying to do something to build yourself, your business, or others around you? If it's not building, it's not worth your breath. That's really all there is to it.
That's interesting, Joe, because this is actually a really good point, because there was something recently, I would say, a negative comment that was going around one of our groups, and I actually got involved to actually kind of help the situation. I didn't come in like guns a-blazing. I just said, as a matter of fact, this is actually what occurred, because there were some things being said that just was not correct. And I was somebody who actually I'm like, hey, you know what? I can add something valuable here that's actually factual, that can everybody like, hey, just so you know, this is what actually occurred. And people were like, whoa, like we didn't know that side of it. Like, that's good to know. And I'm like, that's just it. We all get so riled up. And until you know the entire story, you just have bits and pieces of it. So be cautious too. The internet's a funny thing, Joe, especially social media, because you can basically say like, who knows what verifiable information is out there. So before you start ranting and raving, fact check. Don't just get involved in a conversation. And more than anything, because Joe and I in particularly focus on social media, that's what our day in and day out is. Before you make a post that's going out to your community, like, again, groups aside, those type of side conversations aside, before you post something, just again, remember your community is who you're trying to build trust, confidence, and respect with. If you make a post, especially if it has to do with something that we're talking about, that they have no idea, like your general community, those people that know, like, and trust you, or you hope to, if you go off on some rant that they're just gonna be like, what is Joe talking about? Like, what is Josh talking about? Just think about it, people.
Dude, Josh, that's such a good point, man. I think I just want to like just say amen to that because it's like that's the whole point. It's like if it's not if it's not constructive to your business, don't say it. People like most of your potential borrowers, your referral agents, your employer, they don't care about the gossip that's happening in the mortgage industry. So it's not really constructive for you to say. You're not doing anything.
Period.
Don't create that post. Don't comment on that. It's not really for you specifically. And if you really want to and you feel super passionate about it, it's a free country, do whatever you want. But our advice is just maybe pass on that for the moment.
100%.
You'll feel better about it too.
You will. Like you'll come
later.
I was going to say, you'll actually look back and you'll feel better about not saying anything. Just like, hey, and again, to Joe and I's point here, we want you to say then there are certain things that you should stand up for and that you absolutely should protect. But the most part, why we're having this conversation is just because there's a lot of things happening right now on social that just aren't constructive. They're not helping you. They're not helping the industry. So be thoughtful of that. Be thoughtful of others. And I promise you, as an industry, we can do some incredible things. There is opportunity right now, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever fear, whatever doom and gloom, whatever gossip's going around, focus, put your blinders on, get your head down, hustle, freaking show up, hustle, repeat every day. There you go. Shred every freaking day. Show up like Joe and I do. And I promise you, it'll be better for you in the long run.
There you go. I think we should end on that.
That's it. Guys, every single week, huge shout out to Joe. Huge shout out to everybody who comes and for the comments. Every single Tuesday, you can join Joe and I for Shredding Social. And if you have a topic you want us to discuss, let us know. Yeah. Next week is going to be good. I'm actually so glad that Joe brought this up. Next week, we will talk about some of the things, the big changes that you should be aware of and the things that can help you grow on social. So with that, appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys next week on Shredding Social. Later, Joe.
Yeah.